Hello and good day. So, what is the value of buying a home? Today I would like to talk about the differences between renting and buying a home, the disadvantages and dangers, and the potential value of investing and buying into a home for yourself over renting, and the hopefully help you guys to figure out what point and where is the point, and define a little more what the point is between when you want to continue renting and when you want to continue buying or decide to buy a home. So first off, generally speaking, if you're going to buy a home, you want to be pretty confident that you're going to be there for 5+ years, kind of. It's going to be a place that you're going to be there for long term, unless you have potential other uses for that. But generally speaking, for almost everybody, you would want to be expecting to be there for a long term, because it is much harder to sell a house, although it can still be done. If the market happens to be down temporarily, you might sell at a loss, or if you need to get out quickly, you might have to take a lesser payment to sell off quickly, or end up having it be tied up for a few months before you can actually sell it off. And all that can cause a bunch of effort, additional effort and confusion, and any repairs or additions to the house over the time you've been there may have caused, may make it more difficult for you to move should you need to move, both emotionally and physically. However, you would also want to, if you're talking short term, generally speaking, renting would be the advantage. Now, the thing about renting is you don't have to worry about repairs most of the time. Just leave that to the landlord and contact the landlord and whatever manager is running it, if there is one. And then you pay rent. Now, you don't build any equity by doing so. So you pay out rent to somebody else, but you don't gain any other value except for the fact that your house is covered. You have a home and a place to store your stuff for the duration of the payment. Now, on the other hand, if you buy a home, it is a larger purchase than just renting. And generally speaking, when people buy a home, they buy it with a mortgage, which means they're paying a mortgage payment. Now, often a potential mistake that some people make is just because your mortgage payment would be the same as your current rent payment doesn't necessarily mean mortgaging would be cheaper. The reason being, if a $4,000 repair comes because your water heater is broken, you're stuck with that if that is your own home. So if it's talking about equal payments, then the mortgaging will always be more expensive. However, in general, once you're financially free and financially set up, which means if you can outright buy your home and still be perfectly fine, then usually that is the best way to go, because not only will over time your house generally goes up, but the renting price over the years have consistently been going up. $500 decades back, like 25 or so years ago, would be more like a house of $2,000 for renting now. So the renting prices have been increasingly going up, and by buying a home, you set yourself so you don't have to worry about that in your retirement decades down the road. Now, the repairs still need to be covered, so if you outright buy a home, or if you switch to a mortgage, you want to make sure you have plenty to cover that. So generally speaking, if it's going to be long term and you have plenty of financial health to cover it, then owning a home is the safer, long-term, superior option. But short-term, renting is less demanding, cheaper, and doesn't require as much effort, time, and emotion to figure out and set up. However, it also doesn't build you up equity and sets you to not building. Well, it sets you up to being more vulnerable to price ranges, fluctuations, and inflation to the market. It also makes if you wanted to retire, then it would make a large portion of your living expenses, in addition to consistently having to, on a regular basis, generally speaking, going up rather than staying the same, like a mortgage payment, or obviously the not just outright owning the home, only the renters, only the insurance would generally be the cost to worry about, and then keeping the house maintained. So hopefully this helps you guys understand whether you're at this point or when you're more likely to be closer to this point where you can comfortably add a house to your net worth and assets, or whether you're willing to take on the potential liability to eventually invest as an investment to yourself and your stable retirement and future, or whether it is more secure to stay as a renter for the time being until you can continue to build up your wealth and income and deal with any debt and expenses that you would need to take care of. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And if you would like to hear more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and have a good day.